In 1911, the game was canceled because of riots the year before. In 1927, after a Beaver win, the OAC students tried to tear out the Hayward Field goalposts. In 1937, Oregon State's win at Hayward Field was so good on Saturday that on Monday, the OSU students decided it was time to return to Eugene to celebrate. When classes got out at 11 a.m. near the Pioneer Mother, a full-scale riot was on. It has been a civil war. And what makes the last 20 years of this rivalry so special really are the previous 100 or so years. Bitter, played on fields referred to as muddy hog swallows, in snowstorms, monsoons, and at times, well, at most of the times, they were just flat out ugly. How about 47 punts in 1915? In 1923, they had to play on wet sawdust because the weather was so bad. In 1983, well, you know, the toilet bowl. 0-0. Sports Illustrated called it the worst game ever played. 11 fumbles, 5 interceptions, 4 missed field goals, and maybe the most amazing thing about that scoreless tie, it was the 6th time in the Civil War that there's been a scoreless tie. Clearly, the Civil War was not built on the tangible rewards available to the winner. It was built on the pure desire, the pure satisfaction of beating one another. It was Oregon going 13 years in the 70s and 80s without losing to the Beavers. And in 1982, during that streak, when it finally seemed the Beavers would end the losing streak by leading 6-0 all game long in a driving rain. Until Mike Jorgensen hit Osborne Thomas for 26 yards right in front of the Oregon fans with 2:32 left in the game for a dramatic 7-6 win. In 1985, with a wind chill of 5 degrees and ice all over the field, Chris Miller, Tony Cherry, and Lou Barnes resemble the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau. Unaffected by the weather, they dominate their way to a 34-13 win. When asked after the game if he felt sorry for the Beavers, mired in years of losing, Tony Cherry said simply, "There's no pity involved." In '86, it appeared the tables would turn. Oregon State was a 1-point favorite and at home. Chris Miller was entering his final game as a Duck and exploded on the Beaver defense. He was 21 of 27 with 3 touchdowns. Lattenberry and Derek Lavelle ran wild on the Beaver defense, and the Ducks won 49-28. The next year, again, the Beavers showed life, coming into the game led by record-setting quarterback Eric Wilhelm. After knocking Wilhelm and his backup, Kent Riddle, out of the game, the Duck defense led the way by shutting out the Beavers. The 44-0 win was then the largest margin in the history of the series. In 1989, one could feel things starting to change just a bit. Both teams were starting to show signs of becoming competitive on a much larger scale. Oregon clearly out in front of the emerging programs and clinching their first 7-win season since 1964 on the backs of a stellar performance by Derek Lavelle. His 2 touchdowns led the way to a 30-21 victory, and off to the Independence Bowl went the Ducks. Without Bill Musgrave in that season, there is doubt whether Oregon would have made it out of obscurity. These wins led to the Casanova Center being built. They led to fan involvement and ticket sales, but most importantly, they led to recruiting success and the belief that Oregon could one day play in the Rose Bowl. The Ducks had to walk before they could run. Clearly now, though, they were walking right into the 1994 season, the season in which the Civil War and Oregon football changed forever. It was a cool, typical November light rain sputtering up and down the valley. Now in this game, something bigger is at stake. A win over the Beavers, and the Ducks would be headed to the Rose Bowl for the first time in 37 years. After 2 big catches by McLemore, Oregon sitting just 19 yards away from Pasadena. All those years, all the struggles, all the rivalries, and after 37 years, 19 yards away from the Rose Bowl. Dino Filios touchdown and a big defensive stand, and the Ducks had done it. They had done what nobody thought was possible, the Rose Bowl. And then in 2000 and 2001, the Ducks were on the doorstep. First 2000, Oregon had secured at least a share of the Pac-10 championship. They entered Corvallis undefeated in league play. Oregon State needed a win and a Washington State win over Washington, and they would be in the Rose Bowl. The Ducks needed a win, and they were there. In all the games since the late 1800s, this one was the closest to the present situation today. 5 interceptions thrown by Joey Harrington eventually sealed Oregon's fate. The Beavers won 23-13 and waited for the result from Pullman, which didn't go their way. Regrouping to 2001, the Beavers and the Ducks were thought to be national title contenders again. Because of the new BCS rules, the Rose Bowl all of a sudden wasn't the Rose Bowl anymore. Instead, it was the national title game. The Pac-10 champ would not go to the Rose Bowl for the first time in 74 years unless they were ranked first or second at the end of the season. With the game still in doubt, Keenan Howry fielded a short punt in a driving rainstorm.
Boy, he got some heat, got it away though, and not very long. Here goes Howry! He's gone! Georgia, he's dynamite, touchdown, Oregon leads.
Oregon, the outright Pac-10 champion, finished the season ranked second in the nation after beating Colorado in the Fiesta Bowl. The Howry punt return still held as one of the great Civil War moments ever. From that point on, both programs have been outstanding at the same time, each team winning at home until the Beavers broke through on the road in '07 when the Ducks failed to execute a field goal situation at the end of regulation and lost it in overtime, which set up one for the ages in 2008. Role reversals seemed to be in order. The Beavers with a chance now to win the Civil War and go to the Rose Bowl. Oregon had been very good, but not yet great in 2008. That all changed on a 64-degree day in Reser Stadium.
Downfield, going to go out, and it is intercepted. It'll be for a score. All the way to the 10. Touchdown, Oregon. Jeremiah in a huge hole. He's got a first down and more. Go outside at the 45 to the 50. Still on his feet at the 30. And he'll go downfield at the 20. He's going to score. Can you believe it? Touchdown, Oregon.
When it was all said and done, Oregon had nearly 700 yards and 65 points. The trash cans at Reser were packed with roses. And then the game last year. For the first time in the series history, the winner of the game would go to the Rose Bowl, the biggest Civil War in history. With the nation watching, both teams did not disappoint.
3rd down and 9 at the Duck 26 on the snap to throw. Pressure, there's the throw downfield. He's got him. Can he get it? He does. Nail, foot race to the end zone. 20 to the 10. It will be. It is a touchdown, Oregon. 2nd down and 5. Back to throw again. Canfield. Plenty of time down the middle. It is caught. It'll be a touchdown, James Rogers. On the snap. High snap. Going to give it a blunt. Going to go outside. Try to get the corner. He's got it. He's at the 10-5. Look out. Boom! Into the end zone. LeGarrette Blunt. Boom! Over the top of the Beavers. 2nd down and 8. On the snap. Give it to LaMichael James going left. There he goes. Tripped a little bit. 40. Foot race. 30. He may. He will. The 10-5. It's a touchdown. LaMichael James. On the snap to throw. Pressure comes. Masoli rolls right. He's going to try to get it, and he will get it. First down, Oregon. Hit and spins for the first down.
And then the celebration was on. Oregon, the Pac-10 champions, were headed to the Rose Bowl.